Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Tiffany, a certified birth and postpartum doula. So that means that I support women and their families on their journey from conception to postpartum. If you have not had a chance, please check out my website, www.nurturebytiff.com, where you can check out my doula services, childbirth education courses, and you can check out my blogs. Y'all. So I decided to jump on here and do this video to kind of talk about children in school. And so I have 4 girls, and my oldest is 20, youngest is 4. My 2 girls that are currently in school are 13 and 8. And the way the schools are going these days is completely different from when I was in school. You know what I'm saying? It's completely different from when my mom was in school and when her mom was in school. Like, everything is just so different. And I'm not saying different in a good way. So here and there, I'm able to, be able to pick them up from school, from time to time if my schedule permits and things like that. So last week, I always have a habit of asking my girls, how was your day? Because I mean, sincerely, I really want to know. In this particular day, both my girls had crazy days. You know what I'm saying? My 8-year-old loves school. She loves going to school. She loves being around her friends, besides getting up early in the morning and, kind of making sure she gets up, she's ready to go and all that good stuff. My 13-year-old, and, she's in 7th grade. She's kind of starting to like it, but not like it, just depending on the day, the subject, what's going on in class and things like that. So my 13-year-old, she gets out like 15 minutes before my 8-year-old. She gets in the car and I'm like, how was your day? And she's like, this boy called me a B. We're in the 7th grade, right? I wouldn't even think I was thinking about using those type of words and stuff like that in the 7th grade. Not that I recall. I ain't trying to sit here and act like I'm no saint because, you know what I'm saying? Children will be children. However, just the fact that in 7th grade, this little boy thinks it is cool to call another little girl outside her name. So I'm like, number one, what do he look like? That's just me being a mom. I'm like, what does he look like? Is he still out here? And then I had to calm down a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What happened? So she proceeds to tell me that she was talking to some other little boy, and the boy who called her out of her name decided to jump in and, be disrespectful to her. And she told me, she was like, Mom, I'm not really worried about it because I know that's not who I am, but you should never let anyone disrespect you. Facts. I agree 100%. However, what's going on in his home life where he feels like it's cool to disrespect a young woman like that? You know what I'm saying? Is his dad disrespecting his mom? Is his uncles being disrespectful? Different things like that. And I know that we use this term loosely. Women can be around women and they be like, well, what's up, B? Whatever. Me personally, I don't like the phrase. I don't be calling my friends that, and I just don't. I don't like it. I don't like it, but to each their own. But I told her, I said, babe, you got to go through the proper channels. If it happens again, you make sure that you're able to tell someone and so forth, and we'll deal with it from there. So then my 8-year-old gets in the truck and I'm like, I could feel it. I'm like, babe, how was your day? Not good. I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, dang, we 2 for 2. So I'm like, what's the matter? And she's like, well, we were playing a game and I was in a group with my friends and we lost the game and they felt like it was my fault. So they started kicking me. By this time I had drove off, right? Well, I was driving off, down off the property. I instantly hit the brakes, and I am not a violent person, but however, that mama bear comes out of me because I would protect my children at all costs. I'm riding with them. You know what I'm saying? To a fault, maybe, but my 13 and 8-year-old are very, very sweet, emotional, sensitive girls. Very sweet girls. And when I know that people are being mean to them or bullying them or things like that, it just sends me over the edge. My 4-year-old and my 20-year-old, they're not going to take nothing off of nobody. I ain't worried about when they out and about and things like that. I know they going to hold it down. I'm not really worried. I'm worried about the people that come across them. You know what I'm saying? But my 13 and 8-year-old, sweet, innocent babies. They're not They don't like conflict. They want everyone to be their friend. You know what I'm saying? They are really good. If somebody's having a bad day, you know, they want to make sure that they're okay. They're sharing their snacks and like different things like that. So those are, you know, my two girls in that age group. So when she tells me that her friends, her two friends, and that's another thing, like these are girls that she is cool with or thought she was cool with. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I already knew it. I said, did you cry? And she was like, yeah, Mom, I cried. And I said, well, did you tell anybody? She was like, no, I couldn't tell anyone. So then I'm in my brain. I'm like, she tells me the two little girls' name, and I know these little girls. And I'm like, what the? Okay. So I immediately, after I calmed down, because I'm like, well, I'm ready to hop out and go, look, I'm about the same size as these kids. You can't tell the police or whoever, whatever, that I'm not 14 or 15. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, but again, I had to calm down and be like, all right, we got to go through the proper channels. So I call her teacher. I tell her teacher what's going on. And she's like, well, I'm going to let both of the parents know. Cool. So I proceed to tell my girls that, you know, this is not your fault. This is just unfortunately the world that we live in. When things like this happen, you make sure that you let someone know. So that way, if it happens again and we have to do something about it, it's documented. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't play about them. And I get a phone call. Now, my question is, I really want to know, like, how is it so bad losing a game that you feel like you can put not hands, but feet on somebody because you lost? And in society today, these kids are not learning what it means to lose something and be okay with losing something. Even in games or whatever, if they lose the game, they still get like trophies and like certificates of like participation and stuff like that. Like everyone feels like they need to win, and that's not. So what if you lose a game? Everything's not going to go your way, and they need to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Hell, we lost games all the time in elementary and stuff like that, and we was cool. We was ready to play the next time. If we lost, so what? But everything now is so geared towards inclusion. Everybody has to be included in everything. Everybody has to win everything. Nobody can lose. Nobody's able to process, you know, their emotions properly. So when they do lose, they're upset and they ready to shoot somebody and like all that stuff. We don't have time for all of that. Like, no. So the next morning rolls around. I'm knowing she's nervous about going back to school. And I receive a call from the teacher and one of the other little girl's parents, and she sincerely apologized to me. And I thought that was big, because you don't have a lot of involvement from a lot of parents these days. Like, they could care less what's going on with their children in school, or even if you call them, they don't have time to talk about that, or my kid ain't do this and my kid ain't do that. You know what I'm saying? So for her to call me and apologize to me, that was very big, and I really appreciated that. So, and I also received a message from the teacher saying that I'm going to have a talk with, you know, with the PE teacher, because, you know, my girls or my class is having a hard time with some of these competitive games and stuff that they're playing, and they don't like losing. But I'm like, that's not the answer. Like, it's okay to lose. It's just a game. It's okay to lose. You don't have to get to the point when you lose something, you ready to kick somebody and fight somebody and things like that behind it. Like, I feel like, okay, whatever. Anyways, I'm not in the classroom, but whatever. So later on the day, I can see her. I'm like, you know, my 13-year-old, she had a better day. And my 8-year-old, she was like, yay, I had a good day. They came and they apologized and we're friends again. And I'm like, okay. And I love that about children, how they're able to just move on and forgive, because they haven't been, I guess, like, scarred enough or traumatized enough to hold grudges and, you know, do things like that. Because, you know, sometimes even with us adults, you got one time and it's a wrap. I'm not dealing with you no more. I don't care what you do, who you are. People will cut you off. I mean, that's just what it is, you know, and life shapes you like that. I do feel like forgiveness is important, but I also feel like we need to do better with our children as far as knowing what they're into, what they're doing, who they're hanging around, you know, what type of language. And kids will be kids. They're going to do what they do, but I feel like we need to be more involved. We send our children to school and we feel like it's just the school's job to teach them everything that they're supposed to know. And once they get home, that's it. We don't have any dealings with them. But I don't feel like that's correct. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine, you know, the little boy who called my daughter out her name, what's going on in his household or what he's being shown. You know what I'm saying? And for the little girls who felt like it was okay to put their feet on my child, I hope that they know that that was the last time that will happen. However, I just feel like as a collective, we need to do better and know what our children are into and know what they're doing. And, you know, allow children to be children, but also let them know that there will be consequences for their actions. And let them know that it's okay to lose a freaking game. It is all right. It's not so serious to the point where you have to be upset and you want to kick somebody because you lost. Because what's going to happen when you go out here in the real world and you get a job that you get fired from, or, you know, your boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with you, or, you know, because you're not having your way, you want to lash out and be upset because you're not having your way. Like, that's not what we do. That's not what's up. But anyway, I just wanted to vent about that. It had been on my mind for like the past week, and I'm like, it just bothered me because I just feel like as parents, you know, we need to do better. And I also understand that you can do the very best that you can, and sometimes your children's friends have way more influence over them than you ever could. But I think as a whole, children do love and respect their parents, and if you're there and you talk to them and you get them to understand, you know, life and, you know, things like that, I think they'll be all the more better for it. But anywho, I just want to get on here and kind of, you know, vent about that a little bit. I thank you so much for watching.